Child, I done recorded like 3 videos, and it's been like 2 weeks since I did YouTube videos, and I'm just realizing I done set my camera up all wrong. I'm like, something feels different, but yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of things after the holidays. Circling back. Hello, friends. We are here to review the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Miami. I know that we missed last episode, I believe only just one of them, but we're going to, or maybe even two, I don't know, but we're going to touch on the things have overlapped. We'll touch. So last episode, obviously we started with this, well, we didn't start with, but we had this Mother's Day brunch that Nicole set up for Lisa because Lisa's had bad Mother's Days. I don't know necessarily where that came from, but fine, whatever, let's have it. And so last episode we were hearing, that they, well, this Anna was invited. I guess Anna used to be on like Real Housewives of Miami. I didn't watch it back then. I've only watched since last season, and so whatever. But Anna doesn't have a good relationship. Essentially, with from the clips that I saw, it seems like she doesn't have a good relationship with Marysol, she herself. Now the other ladies, there are some ladies like Lisa and Alexia, plus Marysol, of course, that have adverse feelings about Anna, and then even Kiki is like, well, I know things. So, they have that, but it seems like Anna, for me, has only really said, from what I saw, really negative things about Marysol. Did I necessarily agree with those things? So boom, we are, this is part two, and we are at the brunch, and Alexia and Marysol are, this is the point where they're going off on Nicole, and they feel like Nicole set this up, and, Alexia keeps trying to make it a point, like, oh, Marysol, I'm going to stick up for you. I don't always stick up for you, but I'm sticking up for you, and so we're leaving, like, we're getting out of there. So they get up and they leave, and Nicole's just very much so like, how am I supposed to even know that they have this type of beef, right? Like, and it was very mischaracterized, as it always is. Alexia didn't really have much to say, but Marysol saying like, oh, she wanted me dead, and she said that my husband was gay. And then when we see the clips, it didn't necessarily go down like that, but we'll get into it. Like for me personally, okay, so then the wanting me dead thing, that's an extreme like mischaracterization, right? Her daughter called, Marysol a corpse, and she said both because she looks like one and because she's dead inside. I mean, looks, I don't have nothing to say. Like, I don't have a problem with the way the Marysol looks or whatever. In terms of her insides, I haven't felt much empathy, sympathy, emotion, niceness, gratitude, accountability. Like, I've never really felt much of that from Marysol through the television, through my Samsung television. And so if somebody says that she's dead inside and they met her and that's their assessment and they worked with her, then I just don't think that I'm inclined to disagree. Now, when it comes to like them, they played the clip about the husband being gay or the fiance or whatever the heck he is to Marysol, and Anna in the clip was basically saying, I don't know if he's gay or not, but it's not a real marriage. Okay, that's negative. Like fine, I will give Marysol that, but Marysol always acts like, I don't know, maybe it's just my thing with Marysol, but she's always just like, oh, it's just terrible. Like, no, they're the worst person in the world. She just always overdoes it for somebody that's just not that nice. Like, you're not even that great of a person, so I don't know how you get so dramatic about what other people do to you. That's just my opinion. So they leave. We get the scene where, Lisa pulls up, and Lisa does this thing where she's trying to prove a point. She's driving her, I think it was her nanny or her housekeeper's car, and it's like a, like what I would characterize as like a middle class, hardworking, person car, not super extravagant, blah, 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 blah. And I like that, who was that? I like that Gertie was able to call that out. Like, she's obviously trying to prove a point, but she's missed the mark because it definitely comes off as ignorant for her to, first of all, that's somebody personal's car that right? Even if it wasn't, though, it's you taking like a regular middle class citizen's car and being like, oh, like making it look like, oh, I'm slumming it. This is a key. Like, let me make a point that I got a cheap old car and then I could just do, I can take care of myself if I get this cheap car. It was just a missed point altogether. But Lisa's not very good at piecing things together, so I would only expect that from her and Larsa. I love the honesty from Adriana, right? Like, she's in the car with Anna and they're on their way. And Adriana's in her confessional, like, well, I'm bringing Anna because I feel like Alexia is a hypocrite because she was talking about Lisa's finances, but she obviously has some issues going on with her finances. And I want Anna to bring it up. And honestly, that made me cackle and kiki, right? Not the nicest thing to do, but look, she's being honest about it. But before we can even get there, and something that I wasn't even expecting, we're at the brunch, and Lisa is bringing up an issue with Julia. Well, first she brought it up with somebody else, and I just, for the life of me, I cannot remember who she first got into it with. But she was just basically saying that they were being negative and that they were coming at her, and they're like, girl, we didn't bring this up. Like, you're the one that brought up the Lenny stuff, and so we were just responding by asking questions. I believe that it was Gertie. But she had a problem with them asking questions. It was Gertie. She had a problem with them asking questions about the finances, but it's like, Lisa, you've been bringing up the finances. You've been bringing up the fact that you guys are having a divorce. You've been bringing up the fact that you want financial support from Lenny, but now he filed this thing saying that you spent so much money on Instacart. So it's like, okay, so how much of Lenny's money are you spending, right? And then you have a man, so what's going on with his finances? Like, you brought it up, so we're having that conversation. And then it's up, jump to the Julia thing. They played the clip, but Lisa is so like convinced that Julia asked her, did she tuck her kids in that night? And Julia literally asked her, like, I know it's a lot going on. Like, first of all, are your kids okay? That was a question. Lisa's response was, yeah, they're in bed. They just went to bed. Nobody ever asked you, hey, did you tuck your kids in before you came to get lit with us? Like, nobody ever said that. And I love that Julia did not apologize. Like, the whole table seemed to have been, except for Gertie, seemed to have been kind of against her. Like, girl, just apologize. And she's like, I didn't say anything malicious. Like, I'm not going to apologize. So I'm super okay with her not apologizing because she did absolutely nothing wrong. And I'm kind of just super. I liked Lisa last season, but I'm just so like exhausted with this little like very thin bubble that she lives in. It's just like, where is the reality? It's so annoying. Like, the lack of self awareness that I've come to realize that Lisa has, it really makes my skin crawl. But then she gets super nasty with Julia, which I like that about Julia's character, that she didn't really create a back and forth for her. But, you know, Lisa's saying, like, you don't even know where your child goes to school, and you have 3 baby daddies. And it's just like, how did we even get here? Like, she literally never. I just feel like Lisa's gonna feel so dumb when she watches this back, because one thing I do feel like Lisa may possibly have, I don't know that I've seen it, but I think she may have it, is some accountability. And I think that once she sees how it actually played out, she will feel like an idiot. And then, I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be a point of contention, though, because they show, you know, later on in the episode, I guess they had an after party and they, like, kissed, which seemed very kind of passionate to me, but they, like, Lisa and Julia kissed in the mouth. And so that, you know, that was interesting. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happened with that one. After like 13 people have left and come back and this, that, and the third, Adriana shows up with Anna. And Anna, you know, she first, because Lisa had said, like, oh, she was nasty to me too. And they had played the clip because she's like, she's only said nasty stuff about me. But there was only one clip played, which doesn't mean that that's the only clip. But there was only one clip of Anna kind of making a joke about, you know, Lenny meeting the girl at the pool, I guess, in Vegas. And she was like, I mean, you were supposed to, like, you know, have that there and not take it home, you know. So that wasn't really. It's making light of the situation, but that's not her saying anything nasty about Lisa. But Lisa's like, she's only said nasty things about me. And I'm like, when? So she walks up to Lisa and she's like, you know, I'm rooting for you. I've only ever had your side. And Lisa's like, well, I'm confused, but okay. And I'm like, okay, I guess there's nothing there. But Larsa, who is like a professional just jumper of all jumping, she jumps in it and she's like, well, Adriana, why wouldn't you tell us that Anna's coming? And Adriana puts her right back in her seat and she's like, girl, like, you're not hosting the party, so shut the heck up. Like, just shut up. And she's like, also, you don't know anything about the situation. You were not here. You were in Los Angeles for the last 10 years kissing Kardashian butt. So girl, stop talking to me. Like, she completely ended Larsa, and I feel like I've been waiting for that. But still, that didn't shut Larsa up. Nothing shuts Larsa up, but that was a read. And she definitely cleared that. That's what I wish that they would get into Larsa more about this whole Kardashian thing. Like, girl, what do you really have going on without linking yourself to other notarized or notable people? Like, you linked yourself to the Kardashians. Now you're linked to Marcus Jordan. Like, what do you do? Who are you? That's my question. Kiki also got into it. It was partially annoying me, but I partially understood because I'm like, yes, Adriana should be held accountable because this is messy. But also, I'm just like, but Kiki, you don't know anything about it. And I feel like Kiki had jumped head first into it as soon as she got there. Like, she was asking Nicole, like, why would you invite Anna? But also saying, like, well, I don't know anything about Anna. I don't have any dealings with Anna, but I've heard things. And it's like, okay, well, shut up. And Nicole was explaining to her ad nauseum, like, girl, I don't know anything about it. Like, what do you want me to do? And then now she's jumping in it with Adriana. And it's like, again, you don't even know Anna. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like sometimes Kiki just blindly wants to follow up behind Alexia and Adriana and the Larsa, and she just don't really necessarily be knowing what she's talking about. Should Adriana be held accountable? Absolutely, but Kiki can shut up. Like, even when Kiki was saying, okay, well, you know, because Adriana's like, well, leave. And she's like, well, I'll leave. And I'm like, please do. But when she popped up later, I'm like, I thought you were leaving. Like, girl, leave. You're being annoying. Leave. So they move on, and while Anna's there, she's kind of briefly they're just kind of going back and forth, like, and she's like, I don't know why, you know, Alexia and Marisol wouldn't want to be here. We were good last time we were in the same room. She had never said anything negative, not at that point. And Lisa gets up and she calls and she's like, you guys gotta come back. Like, they're talking stuff about you, like, you gotta come back. And I hadn't heard them really saying anything negative, but I guess I was wondering if maybe the producers had made them come back. I don't know. Then we get a second story of Marisol saying, like, oh, we were there, we were having a drink, we got a little juiced up, and Alexia was like, we'll just go back, we'll have a good time. So I don't know why they came back, child, but I will bet my bottom dollar that it was a producer thing. But they come back and they're still on Nicole's heels, more so Alexia, because in Marisol ain't said a word because she's gonna let Alexia fight her battles. We've seen this show before, and I don't know why Alexia is so hell bent on it being Nicole. Like, it just feels, I don't know. You know, like, obviously it's Nicole's event, and if I'm there, maybe fine. I think that at the outset, but we had already had this argument before y'all left and had cocktails, and she's already explained to you that she doesn't know anything about it. She did approve it, but she doesn't know anything about it. So I still don't really know what the big deal is, and I also don't know how you don't connect an Adriana dot. I feel like they were too afraid, they being Marisol and Alexia, I feel like they were too afraid to even get started with Adriana. Because if they get started with Adriana, then they got to get started with Anna. Because Anna is Adriana's actual plus one. And they just didn't want that smoke. I think that Nicole was the easier target. I definitely don't like that Nicole is getting the smoke because I genuinely don't feel like she knew anything about what was going on. Like, Adriana admitted she wanted in the confessional that she wanted to create smoke, but I don't think that that was a joint plan with Nicole. And we saw the call. They showed the call where Adriana asked, could Anna come? And Nicole was just like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. Like, it wasn't a plot that we know of. And I really just didn't like, obviously Alexia's apology tour is over and she's back being Alexia, and she gets into this thing where she's, you know, saying, Nicole, you're mean. Obviously, your mom's not here because your mom thinks you're mean. You're not a nice person. And I'm just like, girl, you're going so far. And this is going to be different from Lisa. Like, Lisa, I think, is going to watch this. She's going to feel bad. She's going to apologize. Alexia is going to watch this and realize she was wrong and Nicole had nothing to do in it. And she's going to put a fourth foot down in it. And she's going to be like, I said what I said. Like, Nicole's wrong. She's a bad person. So it's just not going to go anywhere well. I did want to see Nicole respond, though, and get activated with Alexia because I think from last season, I noticed that Nicole knows how to read, but I think Nicole was, like, genuinely caught off guard. But yeah, I mean, it really doesn't go anywhere. You know, Anna leaves, she doesn't spill the tea, and nothing really happens. They all just argue. 14 of them left, 3 came back, 2 left again. It was just all a mess. I wouldn't even know where to put a pin in it. We move on, and not to be negative in any way, but it would be very inauthentic of me not to note it. I just feel like I'm always having questions when I'm watching Russell because his lack of emotion is confusing to me. And not that I think he doesn't care, not that I think he doesn't love his wife, not that I think he doesn't have emotion, but I'm just always like, is there more, right? And it also could be the thing of, like, there's cameras around and he's on TV and he's uncomfortable. But at its basis, this is very, like, a basic thought of mine, is just, where are these man's emotions? That's all. But it was very nice to see, Gertie. I'm enjoying watching. I don't want to say enjoying, but I think it's a good personal story to be able to see Gertie go through this because it's relatable. And I do like seeing the aspect of like seeing her come home, later after the surgery and like have that moment with her sons. That was very endearing. It's just kind of the emotion that I just feel like I don't get from Russell. That's all. I did also really like the fact that Julia and Adriana met up and you're having a conversation about what was happening. And Julia is attempting to hold Adriana accountable because, as I said, she should be held accountable for doing that, even though it's great TV and I thought it was masterful. But she should be held accountable for doing it, and she's just not trying to hear it. I don't know that I felt this way about Adriana before, but I'm getting that Adriana's very similar, more similar to Alexia and Marisol than you would think, and that she wants friends to kind of blindly back her up and not hold her accountable. And that's unfortunate because I think that Adriana could be so much better than that, to be honest. I think she may have a tiny bit more self-awareness than Alexia and Marisol, but I think that based on the situation and the way that things played out, especially last season, I think that Adriana just wants to go toe-to-toe to them, and if they're going to be nasty in the gutter, then she's going to be nasty in the gutter. So I feel like she's just kind of going off on the deep end. And it's unfortunate. But Julia, kudos to you for trying to hold her accountable. And finally, still, Alexia and Marisol meet up. And they are still on this, very hell-bent. It's like they slept on it. And they're like, oh, absolutely. It's Nicole. She's mean and nasty. And they even go as far as to say, it's a Mother's Day brunch, but her mom wasn't there because her mom already knew. Or maybe, Nicole knew that it was going to be a mess, so she didn't want her mom to see it. And I'm like, where in the hell do y'all get these ideas from? That is crazy. But they really do think it was Nicole, and that really does bother me. That's why I like that Julia was holding her accountable, because it's more so to the credit of Nicole. Girl, even at the end of the day, you don't like them, you want to do nasty things to them, fine, but it's affecting Nicole. They think it's Nicole, she's having to be the scapegoat, and that's messed up. That's not okay. So I have to agree with Julia 175%. I don't think that's cool. And I'm hoping to see Adriana kind of turn around from that, because it isn't cool. She should be the one owning up to wanting the smoke with Alexia and Marisol. Alexia and Marisol, I don't know what they got going on with Nicole, but they need to hang it up. Flat screen. I thought it was a decent episode. I think we spent entirely too much time at the Mother's Day brunch. Was it entertaining? Yes, but it lacked a lot of substance. And then we had Anna there who caused the whole hoopla, but then we really didn't get anything out of her. We just got people arguing with the wrong people. So I don't know, maybe this will create some type of plot twist that we need, and that'll give us everything we need, and it'll be great, and it'll be luscious and beautiful. But I'm missing quite a lot of substance, quite a lot of context. So, but we'll see in the next one.